Good evening to all the panelists over here. Manoj sir, good evening. And to all the officers over here, as well as the panelists who are present today on behalf of Red Rope Organization in view of uh, International Day for Prevention of Trafficking. Today's topic given to me is law enforcement in eradicating trafficking. In fact, any police officer with a minimum amount of experience would be, and well, this topic in a way where we can find it, the way we have changed over a period of time with respect to the law enforcement in prevention or eradicating trafficking. I cannot say eradication of the trafficking anyway, but I would like to present it in 5 different aspects in a very simple way. One is first assessment of the magnitude of the problem, vis-a-vis the socioeconomic conditions. And then what is the gravity, then assessing the actual issue, then how we can plan to tackle it as a law enforcement agency. And then what are the good practices which we would have developed over a period of time, either from other organizations or other stakeholders, which we have been emulating or practicing it on field. And what are the gaps we are noticing it as a law enforcement agency in eradicating trafficking or in this dealing with actually the trafficking issues. Coming to Telangana, which of course, when I said that assessing the magnitude of the problem, I would not go into very deep, but we would have observed all the panelists and also all the people who are in fact very professional or who have had a lot of experience in dealing with these issues will understand how Telangana has changed over a period of time, where we were one of the most important migrating states to a state where we have become a transit with respect to trafficking. This itself signifies when I said that we have to assess the magnitude of the problem. And when we take, for example, only 2019 cases of anti-human trafficking, about 169 cases are within Telangana and 100 cases which we have booked are from the trafficked victims or from the other states. That itself shows that our perception and our work with respect to ourselves as well as other stakeholders needs a very rapid as well as understandable change with respect to enforcement. Coming back to about a decade or so, when we had come up with the trafficking issues, it was only sex trafficking, that too physical form of trafficking, which we dealt with, where there was migration from various parts of United Andhra Pradesh, otherwise from various districts of Andhra, also from districts of Telangana, where people used to migrate, whether to other parts of the country or to Middle East for the purpose of work, and they were gravely subjected to even the sex trafficking, which you all will agree that Telangana was one of the first or the initiating states with respect to conducting raids outside the state to get back these women, to rescue these women who were otherwise trafficked. And underlying reason at large was the economic conditions on the dry tracts of otherwise Andhra and Telangana, the Anantapur district, basically Anantapur, parts of Kadapa, even parts of Karimnagar, parts of Warangal, and even northern Telangana. When it comes to migration or trafficking for the purpose of labor, the other parts of the region where otherwise or they are sturdy, where trafficking is either it can be a bonded labor issue or it can be trafficking only for the purpose of labor, which otherwise seemingly doesn't appear to be a bonded labor, but still hordes of people in the names of by brokers being transmitted to or transported to different parts of the country, where they are given meager incomes, as it was pointed out otherwise also. And this is another kind of trafficking which we had seen about more than a decade time. How we dealt with it was, of course, number one is developing the SOPs, putting proper sections of law, and most importantly was the coordination with the other states, where we could even conduct raids in the national capital without any hitch. You can imagine that was the effort, not just of the police. It was the stakeholders who came along with us in a very big way that we could do all these things. Now, how is the situation? Is the issue. Like we have been saying since 2014, for example, with respect to children, we are observing that Government of India, WSD division has planned Operation Muskan and Operation Smile for rescue of children on a big scale in a specified months, whether it is January or July, the present month. And I should say that first, to make all the units understand that child trafficking or missing children getting trafficked is one of the issues which a police officer has to understand itself, took major actions. It required major decisions on our part to see that it is enforced and it properly sets into the minds of the police officers at the cutting edge level, which we think today, when we have rescued about 33,000 children all through, it has been a very phenomenal effort of the coordination between various stakeholders. Now the present approach is, we being a transit state, from a state where we used to get migrated in very large numbers, becoming a transit state, what should be an approach of the law enforcement agency? This is where now I think this is number 2 phase. And number 3 is, of course, as we are seeing COVID, which has placed children, which has placed women in a very vulnerable position, where present scenarios are setting up in such a way that there is a possibility, because of the vulnerable situations which we are finding now, that trafficking of these vulnerable children as well as women in various places, because of lack of work, lack of employment, lack of proper economic conditions, proper health care, and various lack of proper transit or transport. These might be the reasons where we might be facing trafficking issues in a very different form, which we are going to see during COVID and the post-COVID, where we have seen multitude of issues in migration of these women and children, basically, or people during COVID times, where it was nothing but retransportation of these particular women, children, and being kept in different parts. For example, as it was already pointed out, in the various homegrown industries, especially the brick kilns, where children are bought from Orissa in very big numbers, and they are employed without actually going up for any understanding impact or coordination from the originating states. So who should fill the bridge for us? Who should fill the gap for us in this particular enforcement issues? Next, how we can plan for tackling these particular issues. One is awareness, the other is action. When it comes to awareness building, during earlier period, I will again get back to a place where a decade and above, which, though, as I have said, a strong SOPs were built up. There was massive awareness campaigns which were built in these particular areas, where, because we all know that there is a system of brokers who are functioning in all the villages, which now most of the times, because of the presence of various active NGOs, various NGOs who are proactive and are able to reach these villages in a proper manner and who have become whistleblowers for us, we are able to see that, take appropriate legal action on all such brokers who are otherwise operating in this red zone areas of otherwise Andhra Pradesh or Telangana. And once we have made a database of all these people, over a period of time, very stringent sections had been put over these people, and we have developed tools to monitor them in a proper manner. This itself, I can say, as a law enforcement officer from state of Telangana, that there has been a proper monitoring and a large scale monitoring on these particular people who are otherwise acting as brokers. Now, the major challenge for the law enforcement agency in Telangana is the people who operate from outside. For example, I have a list of about 20 to 22 brokers who have been fixing up to get the children to work in these brick kilns or various parts of the state in different units where the children are being worked, and minors, basically minors. Suppose if we try to track these particular people, the major issue is that they are not in physically contact with any of the person here in this particular state where they, which is a destination to them. Number one. Number two, they are so smart that they are not maintaining their own contact, or they are not maintaining their own system of transmission of money, which is basically an evidence development mechanism for the law enforcement agency. If I try to track back a labor who have come to this particular state, if I track back to the person who was in touch, whom they will confess and tell openly that it was because of an ex-person in a particular state who met me through an ex-person, and then I came. They are so smart that they don't talk on the phones in a way where we can actually build up evidence, number one. Number two, the money transmission issues which go on are taken care of in a very smart way. Number three, we are also seeing that this transit mechanism is being planned so smartly that they mix up some, if there is a transportation of about 20 people, they mix up 10 majors or 15 majors, and they will put 3 or 4 minors at a time. That's all. And when some information or tip-off comes to an NGO also, or even to us, once we go, it will be a large scale majors who are present there and who will say that we are willing when they are produced before the court. And they go unawares. These 3 or 4 people, they say that I have got my brother to be with me. And it is not accepted. And even to develop some kind of evidence on this particular mechanism is becoming a bit difficult. This is somewhere where we are finding little gaps. You get information, even the NGOs get information, and we do get information on these particular things. Therefore, we have planned a holistic approach in these particular issues, which I will try to explain. Next is about the good practices which we followed in the erstwhile days and now. This is coordination of various stakeholders. Regular meetings are being held between different departments, especially the WCD department, that is Women and Child Welfare Department, as well as Telangana Police, especially which was in CID. Now, formation of Women Safety Wing, which directly is under the control of DGP and doesn't work as a part of Crime Investigation Department. And therefore, we have formed a module separately in Women Safety Wing, which is anti-human trafficking module, whose prime track chart is made for the next 10 years, how it will look like. Like, for example, we had about 5 AHTs, Rajahmundry, Warangal, in the United AP. Now 3 more proposed. And of course, now every district is becoming AHT. Today, Commissionerate Rachakonda is becoming officially an AHT, is being opened today on the eve of International Prevention of Trafficking Day. So now forming AHT cells in each district, will it be an answer? Number 2, what kind of work charts the AHTs have to function, have to be redrafted, because when you go back to the line of working which is being given, one of the officers from their own district will head the AHT. So there is all probability that, and these AHT units have to get transferred all the cases which are missing in that particular unit beyond a specified time period as per the instructions or guidance of guidelines of Honorable Supreme Court. But practically, when it comes to actual transfer of cases from units or from police stations to the AHT unit is most of the time not is defeating the very purpose, because 70% of the cases are found to be the elopement cases, which are not conventionally or otherwise called as worth trafficking cases, for which the time of a law enforcement officer. I am speaking out very practical issues which are being faced. So let us try to separate these issues, because once a minor is 6 months, 5 months, 8 months. And once they become a major, they try to come back saying that we have married. The fact whether they are victimized, the fact whether it has to be treated as a trafficking case is in fact, but there is burden of the cases which otherwise don't require other than any technical investigation in such cases. In these cases, the AHT functionality and functioning of the AHT with respect to their own SOPs on what issues they have to dwell with depends upon the kind of socio-economic structure in that particular unit or the district or the police station limits. What are the kind of cases they are getting among the 14 different sections of law or special acts which come under the human trafficking. And number 3, training to every AHT wing, which has to be very regular and sustained way and not very theatrical. This kind of trainings now, if planned on a very regular basis, not only by the governmental agency, but by the NGOs who otherwise take part in the trafficking, anti-human trafficking operations, will be of great help, and who are present locally will be of very great help to the law enforcement agencies. Next, good practice, which otherwise I would like to say, is the use of technology. When it comes to use of technology in anti-human trafficking operations by law enforcement agencies, I can say that, of course, there is a track child application, which is there in the nationwide. We do have an application called Darpan application, which has been rated as one of the best applications or usable, user-friendly application, where we are going with it. And on an average, we are able to, any one feature, however old it is, minimum features with this facial recognition application can be detected of every missing person, especially which we are using on a wide scale for the children. And even in this Muskan operation, which is going on presently in the state, there are 9 cases which are detected. This time there was no physical movement of the officers at all. It was just uploading of all the 618 missing cases which otherwise are undetected in the state. And out of that, it is happy that nobody has moved on to the field. Yes, technology has helped us in tracing back the children who otherwise were somewhere employed as labor, who were otherwise missing and they were found begging, and the children who were otherwise employed as a child labor most of the times. So use of technology with more and more applications which are endemic to any state, I think might be a good practice for any law enforcement agency in eradication of trafficking. And third thing is about role of different stakeholders and what we can perceive and how we have to, in fact, improve or increase our work efficiency as a law enforcement agency by using the expertise of various stakeholders. And when it comes to that, of course, various organizations like UNODC, even various NGOs who have been coming up, and all women commissions, even the National Women Commission and all the state commissions which come to our help. And when it comes to role of NGOs in the modern times of this particular trafficking issues, which has changed with respect to our state, we perceive that the role of NGOs in dealing and in eradicating trafficking along with law enforcement is 3 particular areas. What I feel is, number 1 is the data sharing. Yes, the data can be shared. To the extent it can be shared, yes, it can be shared. But the underlying purpose should be not to expose only the magnitude of the issue. It is about how you can help in getting in touch with various agencies across the country, which can be of help to us in detecting that particular case, number 1. Number 2, in finding out the perpetrators, other than because single-handedly, when a state agency goes with it, and even when we coordinate with our own agencies across the state, civil society organizations, especially NGOs, when they go to this origin areas like villages or all the rural areas, they they are bound to get better and more information than us in a real-time basis. That is, I see as the first utility of and major utility of any NGO who have passion and are working in this particular eradication of anti-human trafficking. Number two, when we actually conduct the raids, we are not finding many people who come forward as witness. So it has to be written in mandate of a particular NGO that they will last with us as a witness who is very law known and who can actually become a beautiful witness leading to the convictions. Along with the database, whatever that particular NGO has with respect to that particular trafficking operation which we would have done. And number three is about data which you would have worked out or putting forward these good practices in various platforms across the country and internationally about a particular kind of trafficking issues being faced in the different parts of the country, including my own state, would make a lot of difference for the law enforcement agency. Because most of the cases, they are not leading to conviction only because 42% in Muskan, for example, Operation Smile of January, I can say there were about 412 cases which were booked with respect to trafficking issues of the children who were involved in traffic, who were rescued as a part of Operation Smile. And out of that, some 628 plus children. This time, with the help of NGOs, we are doing a very beautiful activity just because we are not able to move physically. The same police teams, law enforcement teams, which otherwise exist in various units at the district level or the division level or the circle level, are being utilized, and they are being attached or buddied with an NGO who will actually help us once we give a set of information to reach out to that particular village and then find out whether that rescued boy or girl is in an appropriate condition. Otherwise, if they are in an appropriate condition, what kind of further help is required? These are the good stories and good involvement of various NGOs which we are trying to see. This kind of involvement, this kind of partnerships, I think so far out of 418 cases, just for the panel I am trying to present, 283 children who were rescued have been visited for the past 20 days to find out whether their rescue operation was hassle-free, whether they faced any issues. Number three, whether law enforcement agency also requires to go through their own operation to improve in the next time. And fourth, whether the child is happy or not. After having reunited, whether CWC order is properly implemented on the field. Number four, attaching that particular child to a buddy locally who will be taken care of by the NGO as well as the LEA. This is something I think can be an amazing way of doing going ahead with the partnerships. I feel these are the points which I thought I should share as a part of the National Symposium on AHT with respect to law enforcement in eradicating trafficking. Yes, there are many issues, many percentages, many kinds of data with me, what I can share as DIG Women's Safety Telangana. As on date, out of 636 PT cases which we have today, and for the information of all, it is not so bleak. We got convictions in 70 cases in 2019 just because we worked out in a very passionate manner